Thank you. It's about time I do my job. These guys have been doing a pretty good job all year, so if I can help them out, it makes me feel good.
Well, a 598 will not make them smile.
Now, the performance was off, but I think we know why the performance is off. We've kind of been toying around with it a little bit, and it ought to run better next time.
What are you going to do?
Fuel system, way off.
I won't even ask. That's the secret in these cars, the fuel system. He's not about to tell me or anybody else.
So hope springs eternal with John Collins, who looks for an improvement in that ET, but it was a fine drag race and a very, very close victory over Tom the Mongoose McEwen. All right, back down to the starting line. That pair of very determined eyes belong to Billy Meyer, Waco, Texas, one of the strong runners in funny car ranks, and he will be up against John brute force. You talk about determination. They just don't come any tougher, and they don't try any harder than that man, Steve Evans.
No, they don't. And, you know, Billy Meyer has been an innovator in the sport. He was the first to go to the 18-wheeler as a transportation mode, and everyone now, you can't get along without one. You got so many parts and pieces to haul around. And Meyer is, you talk about motivated. Billy Meyer's father literally invented the self-improvement business, the cassettes and the lectures and all of that. SMI Incorporated in Waco, Texas. And Billy really believes in all of that. He's a goal setter.
He sure is, and so far his career has been very, very rewarding in drag racing. John Force, Fullerton, California, up through the ranks. A committed professional. He makes his living doing this, no other source of income. He loses and he eats beans.
That's right, and he also has a very highly paid crew chief named Austin Coyle that keeps that car running round after round. The same man who raced the Chi-Town Hustler to 2 world championships. Force made him an offer he couldn't refuse, and he parked the old Chi-Town car to take a real job.
Well, it's going to be an interesting confrontation because these are two young lions in this business. Perhaps Force not quite as successful over the last couple of seasons as Billy Meyer, but now with Austin Coyle twisting the wrenches, as they say in this business, it could be a big turnaround in Force's career.
Well, Billy Meyer has won a whole bunch of national events. John Force has gotten as far as runner-up. He's never really been able to win the big one. But Meyer has been frustrated with the lack of a world championship. You see the number 2 on the side of the car? Well, that's the highest he's ever been at the season-end points.
And, of course, the number 1 carried by the Candies and Hughes car, driven by Mark Oswald, and he was taken out in the first round by Meyer's opponent, Force.
And Billy Meyer took out the 3-time world champ Blue Max car, now driven by John Lombardo in the first round. So neither of these drivers had an easy first-round race.
And one of the two of them will also head for the trailer, and a lot of disappointment because one of the unique qualities of drag racing is that there is no second chance.
You got it. 2 go down and 1 comes back until there's only 1 left. Billy Meyer, John Force, it's a good start. Force smokes the tires. Wildly smokes the tires. Cannot drive through it. It is Billy Meyer winning it at a 581, 242 miles an hour. Again, it was a good even lead, but John Force with too much horsepower or the clutch a little bit too tight, whatever, he smoked the tires. And when you do that, it's just your heart just sinks because you know you're out of it.
Well, this is probably a judgment call on the part of the crew in terms of clutch adjustment, and it may be that poor John Force simply had no choice. He pressed the button and up it went and smoked, and Billy Meyer goes on to victory into the next round.
Well, Billy Meyer comes out of his Mustang funny car, and the first thing he does is kick the tires. Now, he already owns it, so it's not like he's shopping for used cars. But a 581 elapsed time will put him in the semifinals, and I think we may see a bigger smile on his face than we did in round number 1 when the car didn't run all of that well. Also, some damage to the left front of the window on Billy's side of the car. So as soon as he gets his helmet off, we'll try to find out if indeed maybe he thought he had a flat tire or something shaking. Billy, what's going on?
Well, things shook all the way down the racetrack. It wasn't your normal tire shake. It's also raining right now.
Well, that isn't going to last very long. Just one little black cloud right over you.
No, it's over him. Obviously, it wasn't us.
581.
That's better. I mean, we fell off pretty bad last run. It's not as good as Kenny's doing, but it's a little hard to do right now.
Without that vibration, might go a little quicker.
Yeah, it's obviously something in the tire. It's not in the combination, so maybe that would have been, 79 or something.
So you'll probably see a new pair of rear tires going on Billy Meyer's car as he heads back to the pits.
Well, Steve, the rain clouds gather here at Columbus, but it's going to be Meyer and Collins. Meyer has lane choice on a classic matchup, Kenny Bernstein versus the Snake.
Gone. The sun shining on the beautiful candy apple car on Joe Amato back in the pit area. That engine has been field stripped and now is going back together, getting ready for the semifinals of Top Fuel Eliminator.
In the semis, it'll be Joe up against Gary Beck. Now, the final adjustment that's being made here is to the clutch. The clutches really are adjustable in two ways. One is the static, or right off the starting line. The other is the counterweight, where the further down the racetrack, the clutch gets tighter and tighter. And there's a lot of guesswork that goes on. As we saw in that last race in funny car, John Force might have guessed wrong. Over in Gary Beck's pit area, things are calm and cool. They have over 14 men in this Larry Minor operation to get everything back together on time.
Well, Steve, don't forget, they've got 3 cars in the place, 2 top fuel cars and Ed McCullough's funny car, so they need at least 14 guys. This is certainly the most elaborate racing operation ever to come to big-time drag competition.
And it's all under the leadership of that man in the sunglasses, Gary Beck, the world's quickest drag racer. Now, with Larry Minor out in top fuel and Ed McCullough out in funny car, there's no shortage of help for Gary Beck. Here we go. This is the Pro Stock semifinals. And that is the spinning rear slick of Warren Johnson. They'll get so hot on those burnouts, Brock, you wouldn't dare even lay your hand on it.
Well, he's going to go up against the Trans Am of Butch Leal. And Leal, of course, one of the real starting line maestros in drag racing, a guy known to be able to squeeze the lights as well as anybody. But in terms of raw power, Warren Johnson has just got to be tough as nails.
Well, this guy, Butch Leal from Blacklick, Ohio, really did Warren Johnson a favor in the first round when he disposed of Bob Glidden with a hole shot. Warren Johnson, well, he's the only man that's been able to really make these Oldsmobiles fly. These are 2,350-pound cars with the driver on board, 500 cubic inches maximum, 2 4-barrel carburetors, racing, gasoline. That's essentially the rules.
Sure is. The body's almost perfectly stocked, but underneath those giant slicks and a very sophisticated suspension system.
A dead even start. Butch Leal not able to pull off the whole shot here. Warren Johnson pulling ahead, moving out. Warren Johnson all the way. Johnson with a 766 at 180 miles an hour. Leal at 774, 176.
Well, a lot of development has gone into that little Calais. It's a much smaller car than the Cutlass that Warren Johnson had been campaigning. Took him a number of events to get the handling straightened out. It was a very twitchy little automobile, but now it's running straight as a string, and Johnson's going to be a factor here for sure. All right, next pair. That will be Frank Iaconio in a sister Thunderbird to the one that Bob Glidden campaigned so successfully. However, this is an old Chevrolet loyalist, Frank Iaconio from New Jersey, and he is still in the midst of trying to sort that car out, Steve.
That's right. Bob Glidden had a big head start in that department. And this is the young man I was talking about earlier, Bruce Allen, Lapeer, Michigan. He has been hired as the new driver for the Rear and Morrison Team Chevrolet. If he's up to it, look out. Frank Iaconio, now he is a crafty veteran on the starting line. He may try to use up this young man who is driving his first ever Pro Stock car.
So Allen and Iaconio, Ford versus Chevrolet. They're both staged, and it's Iaconio way just a wink quicker than Allen.
But that big Chevrolet horsepower paying off in the other end. He drives around Frank Iaconio. Bruce Allen goes into the finals at 768, 176 miles an hour. In that final round, he will be up against the Oldsmobile of Warren Johnson, so it's an all General Motors final. Let's go to Ed Bruce.
Safety precautions are the #1 matter of importance at all NHRA events. 2 years ago, we saw a chilling example of why it's so important. Mike Dunn, who at that time was driving this car, had a run-in with a thing called the net. It was a qualifying run. Mike Dunn was past the finish line when his car suddenly burst into flames. Mike Dunn was on fire and out of control as he hit into the safety catch nets. Then, ensnared in the nets, Mike Dunn escaped from the wreckage and ran to safety. Once again in slow motion, we see how Mike Dunn's car was engulfed in flame as the fire ate his parachute. Then the right rear tire explodes, destroying the body of the car. The car was screaming down the track with Dunn trapped inside, and then into the double safety nets. The first net threw the car sideways, and then captured in the second net, the car came to a sudden stop. And it was then we saw Mike Dunn unhook his safety harness and run, unhurt, from the wreckage. It was incidents such as these that led the NHRA to further improve safety precautions by installing the sand trap we've seen in use today. Let's go back to the racing with Brock and Steve.
Well, plumbers call it duct tape. Racers call it 200-mile-an-hour tape. Whatever, John Collins hopes that it's going to hold the roof hatch in the body of his funny car. You'll recall in the last round, right at the finish line, it went skyward. So John's got it all repaired. He doesn't seem too concerned about that.
You wonder what racers did before that tape was invented, Steve. I just don't know how they got along without it. As we go to Billy Meyer's pit area, things look fairly routine there. As crew chief Jim Duffy, one of the really good guys in this business, does a final torquing of the head bolts and the rocker arms to get that race car ready for competition. We'll be back with more of the Budweiser Spring Nationals from the National Trail Raceway right after this.
In the world, top fuel dragsters are fired and ready for semi-final round competition. I'm Steve Evans along with Brock Yates and Ed Bruce at the Budweiser Spring Nationals in Columbus, Ohio. And that, Brock, as you well know, is the world champion in the near lane.
Oh, we got a good one here, Steve. In the other lane is Gary Beck, the defending Spring Nationals champion, and the man so far who's run the strongest here in the eliminations.
These two just battled head-to-head all last season for the world title. Gary Beck won 3 national events, but it still wasn't enough. It was Joe Amato who earned the big number 1. Beck doing a rare burnout over the starting line. You don't see him do that often.
I wonder what that tactic's all about. That is a little change of pattern for him. As we watch Jerry Amato, Joe's wife, guide that long wheelbase top fuel car back into the staging lane.
I would guess Beck may have a new clutch in that car and want to heat it up a little more or put a little wear on it. But you're right, that's not something he has been doing at this event. Gary Beck, he is one of the most intense men I have ever met when he's drag racing, Brock. But away from the drag strip at home, he can unwind, relax, and he's just a super friendly guy to be with.
Well, you can see that tachometer needle just clicking right around 3,000 RPMs at idle. It'll push over 8,000 RPMs at the other end of the drag strip.
And Brock, they'll use approximately 12 gallons of fuel from startup to shut off, over $280 with a nitromethane alone. They leave right together. I didn't even start, but Gary Beck is pulling away. It is all Gary Beck today at 572, 210 miles an hour, meaning he shut it off a little bit early. Amato at 588, charging at 237.
Well, it just wasn't enough for Joe. In fact, Gary Beck had it all the way. Maybe just a wink on the starting line to Joe Amato, but after that, all the way down the drag strip, Gary Beck showed just enormous power. Enough, as you say, so he's able to shut it down early. All right, the next pair. That's Dick LaHaye, the full-time touring professional from Michigan, the winner of the Gator National earlier this year, who seems to have found the combination. Against him, Bill Mullins, the man who disposed of Big Daddy Don Garlitz in the last round. Let's go to Steve.
So Gary Beck goes into the final round of the Spring Nationals. This is hard work.
Yeah, it is. It's fun, though. It's fun to get a few rounds going, but we got the Miller American car back, I think. We're happy.
Especially beating Amato. I know you like him, but that's a guy you're going to have to beat for the World Championship. He picked your pocket last year.
He is. They're tough. You know, Joe is extremely hard, and, you know, the top fuel, we don't have a lot of them, but we got 6 real good ones out there, and it's fun to be back and beat a few of them.
Fell off a little bit at 572.
Yeah, it's hard to say. We'll just have to go back and look at it.
Okay, Gary, good luck in the final round. Let's go to Brock Yates with Joe Amato.
Well, as Joe Amato climbs out and unbuckles, not a particularly happy ending here for him today, but we'll know that there'll be more successful conclusions. Joe, 588, it just couldn't have run very good.
No, I must have dropped a couple of cylinders off the starting line. You know, we knew we were behind Beck on performance, and we had to make some adjustments and trying to pick up a 10.5, and apparently it didn't work out, you know.
Sometimes you got to try a little bit too hard with those motors, and it went away on you.
Well, everything is real critical. You know, we're fighting some problems with different parts, and, you know, when you have problems with it's hard to get the combination exactly right. You know, that's what we're fighting right now. We'll be back next week.
Oh, we know.
We picked up some points on Garlitz, though, at this race for the World Championship, so I guess that's the good side of it.
That's right. Congratulations anyway. Good show up to now.
Thank you.
Boy, you can just count on Joe Amato to always find the positive, even in defeat. He and Big Daddy, that's going to be some chase for the World Championship, and you can bet wife Jerry will be along for all of it. Back on the starting line, well, we're going to find out who races Gary Beck in the final round. Will it be Dick LaHaye, who has been so very sharp off the starting line, or will it be Bill Mullins, who has had tremendous top-end horsepower? The car has run over 260 miles an hour a number of times this season, but usually on fire at the finish line. So here comes Mullins gliding into the lights in the near lane, Brock.
Going to be a good race. No clear-cut favorite here, Steve.
No, I wouldn't think so. Now, Mullins has been up there ready to race. Finally started Buster Couchman over to Dick LaHaye and says, come on, get up there. LaHaye really taking his time. Mullins wisely not putting on the final light until he saw the front wheels of Dick LaHaye's car. Dennis Mullins with a terrific hole shot, but he smokes the tires. LaHaye dashes ahead. Here comes Mullins, and he 3 passes. Dick LaHaye, Connor Kim, not crazy about that one, but the John and Shirley Carey crew sure loved it. How about the top speed? That and the whole shot won this race. Bill Mullen at 571 to LaHaye's much quicker 566.
What a drag race. Mullins out of the hole like a rocket. LaHaye, though, showing all kinds of power the entire length of the drag strip, turning a 566. Look at Mullins sideways there a little bit, smokes the tires, then gets it straightened out and goes on with a terrific top-end burst to nail LaHaye in the lights. What a race. Mullins spots LaHaye a 10th and wins it.
Well, Bill Mullen, you just can't do much.